Hi, Jim Bond with the fourth episode of myeloma lessons learned over 30 years by my caregiver Kathleen and myself. Today's episode is on doctor visits. Of course, we were under a lot of stress and overwhelmed by the first few doctor visits. And we eventually learned to focus only on the test results and the questions the doctor was concerned about. And with those, we developed what we called our personal scorecard. And by that I mean whichever numbers, say 3 or 4 of them that were top of his questions, those would be the ones I would start tracking and focusing on and asking more questions when they seemed to be out of line. And I ignore the other ones unless it was something the doctor brought up. Personal scorecard. And that changed over time as the case trended different directions. We also learned that single results were not, one single test result was not nearly as important as the overall trend in that test results. So developing a trend line was something that I did on graph paper, just by hand, just to get a feel for what the doctors and nurses were concerned about, and that is the overall trend in what my case was doing. That also relieves some stress by not letting one reading get the best of us. Now, when we felt it necessary to get more comfort by getting a second opinion, we asked for one. And in total, I've done 6. And I'm a believer in second opinions. And I'll say this much in this episode about second opinions. My first one was out of necessity. I was pushing for a second bone marrow biopsy, and my local transplant doctor did not think I would harvest enough stem cells for the second one because of radiation I had during the first. Well, to get me off his back and to stop badgering him, he actually recommended to me a second opinion, that I go out of town for a second opinion, which we did. And it was very valuable because the second opinion agreed that it was a reasonable try, and that gave my local doctor the confidence to go ahead and do it, which he did, and the second one worked out fine. Now, I'll tell you about another second opinion visit, and it was the same transplant doctor locally. And he was thinking I didn't have time to spend going out of town for a second opinion. He was concerned that I was endangering my life by waiting to get another opinion. Well, we disagreed on that point, and we went. Now, to speed up that second opinion visit, I had our local lab ship the slides up to the second opinion lab so they didn't have to waste time drawing another bone marrow biopsy. Now, that worked out well. It ended up saving my life, and I was able to maintain my local doctor relationship. In other words, he eventually got over it. So I think I'll end session 4 there. I will have more to say on second opinions in future episodes. And there is more in my book, and the profits from my book go to charities. And you can find my book by searching my name, Bond, and the word myeloma, and the word book. And that'll lead you to the book. So thank you, and look forward to seeing you next episode.